Hello students, this is Karimunisa Syed, Associate Professor in Zoology. Welcome back to session 39 under Zoology, Paper 2, Non-Card Data, Part 2. In this session, we are going to learn few facts about Thornaria larva of Belno glasses. So why do we want to learn the structure and significance of Thornaria larva? It is just to know how remarkable the body of this Ternaria larva shows adaptations to its free living life and also to the marine habitat. At the same time, we can always correlate the structure of Ternaria larva with that of some of the other larval forms of animals like echinoderms and annelids. Of course, before we study the structure of Ternaria larva, we must know the structure of glasses. At the same time, we must have some basic knowledge about the animal architecture. So what is Ternaria larva? As the name indicates, this larval form was found to rotate at the time of its locomotion. That's why it is popularly called Ternaria larva, which turns around while locomotion. And Ternaria larva is a typical larva in the life history of hemichordates. And this Ternaria larva was for the first time discovered by J. Muller in the year 1850. And it was considered by him and few other scientists for a long time as the larva of echinoderms because of its structural similarities with that of other echinoderm larvae. But later, in the year 1869, it was Meshnikov who established that Ternaria larva is actually a larva of Belnoglassus clavigeris. Then coming to the habit and habitat of this particular larva, it swims freely in the water. That means it is a free living form. And the name Ternaria is given to it because of its habit of rotating in circles at the time of locomotion. As it is a free living animal, it has lot of cilia, and by beating this cilia, it will show active locomotion. And the size of this Ternaria larva also varies from species to species, but it is microscopic. The size varies from 1 millimeter to 3 millimeters. And looking at the structure, you can conveniently say the body of the larva shows bilateral symmetry. Coming to the shape, the Ternaria larva usually has ovoid, bell shape with a highly transparent body. At the same time, just like echinoderm larvae, this larva also shows body lobes, and these lobes are ciliated, or the margins of the lobes are bordered with the cilia. And there are 3 distinct ciliary bands, and name of these bands depends on their position, where they are located. So the portion of the body anterior to the mouth is elongated to form a preoral lobe. The anterior end of this preoral lobe, as you see here, it bears a well-developed apical plate. with ganglionic nerve cells, the nerve, a pair of pigmented eyes or ocelli, and also a tuft of sensory cilia or apical tuft of cilia. It is variously called ciliary organons, which is sensory in function. That means it is not helpful in the locomotion. Similarly, here also we have ciliated bands. These bands you can see based on the position, they are called pre-oral ciliary band and post-oral ciliary band. The pre-oral ciliary band is present above the mouth, whereas post-oral ciliary band, you can see it is present below the mouth region. But these two bands, they try to meet anteriorly near the apical plate. And apart from this, there is a small circle of cilia surrounding the mouth, which is not clearly visible under the microscope in the slide. And this circle of cilia is called circumoral ciliary band because it is found in the periphery of the mouth. That's why it is called circumoral ciliary band. And as this group of cilia are located surrounding the mouth, obviously they are helpful in the feeding or in the collection of food. The other ciliated ring is present around the anus. And this band is called circumanal ciliated band. Circum means it is circling anal region. That's why it is called circumanal ciliated band, or it is popularly called telotroch. And as you see here, the cilia in this telotroch region are long, powerful, and thereby telotroch acts as a chief or the important locomotory organ of Ternaria larva. The ciliary wave passing along the telotroch causes the larva to rotate constantly while swimming. Thereby we call it as a Ternaria larva. Here the alimentary canal is complete, but it is very simple. With the anterior mouth, followed by that we have bent esophagus, large stomach. Followed by the stomach, we have tubular intestine, which opens outside by means of posterior ends. So thereby you can see digestive system or the alimentary canal of the larva is bent. It is not straight. And mouth is ventral in position near the equatorial plane of the body of the larva. But the anus is posterior and terminal. Ternaria larva also possesses one pair of gill slits. Then, as you see here, the protocele or proboscis coelom is also developed in the Ternaria larva, and it is present in the form of a thin-walled sac, which opens to the exterior by means of a mid-dorsal pore called hydropore or proboscis pore. To the right of the hydropore lies a small pulsating heart vesicle. So usually it shows that there is a primitive development of coelom and also the circulatory system. The collar and trunk coeloms also appear in the later stages of the larva. So in the later stages of larva, the larva may show all the 5 coelomic cavities of the adult. So thereby, the larva exhibits trisegmental condition of the body. Just because this larva will be actively swimming, free living, obviously it feeds on minute organisms to procure sufficient energy required for the further process of development, which involves metamorphosis into adult. So during this stage, the larva develops 2 constrictions to form proboscis, collar and trunk of the adult, and it metamorphoses into adult. Then coming to the significance of Turnaria larva. Turnaria larva of Belnoglassus shows structural resemblances with Trochophore larva of Annelida in being microscopic, transparent, bilaterally symmetrical, pelagic. That means both the larvae, Trochophore larva and Turnaria larva, they share all these common features. They also have apical plate, eye spot, sensory cilia, and complete bent animal alimentary canal. But at the same time, they also differ. These 2 larvae, Trochophore larva differs from Turnaria larva because in the Trochophore larva, we see nephridia and we see protostomia there. And here in the Turnaria larva, we have proboscis coelom and proboscis pore, which was absent in the Trochophore larva, whereas nephridia and nephridia are absent, and instead of proterostomia, we have deuterostomia in Turnaria larva. So thereby, scientists come to the conclusion that whatever larval similarities were there, they indicate convergent larval evolution due to the similar habits and habitats. So most probably because of Haeckel's theory, that is ontogeny repeats phylogeny, indicating some ancestral similarity. Similarly, Turnaria larva of Belnoglassus also shows structural resemblances with the echinoderm larvae in being microscopic, transparent, oval, bilaterally symmetrical, pelagic, with ciliated bands and complete alimentary canal. Not only that, in both of them, the coelomic origin is also same. That is, the coelom is enterocoelic in origin, and they also show deuterostomia. That is, the blastopore is retained as larval anus, both in the echinoderm larvae and also in the Turnaria larva. But Turnaria larva differs from echinoderm larvae in having apical plate with sensory cilia, eye spot, and telotroch. So these things are absent in echinoderm larvae. So thereby, scientists believe that the close larval similarities are only due to convergent larval evolution due to similar habits and habitat, because there are some differences also between these larvae. So at the end of the session, we have come to know the factual information about the structure and significance of Ternaria larvae. So these are some of the references that are used in preparing for this session. Thank you. Please write to us your suggestions to the email ID zoology.bcu@gmail.com.